Carnival of Souls. We'll get rolling. All good? Ready?
Yeah.
All right. So this is what, like our fifth or sixth side dish now, something like that. This time we're covering an interesting one, Carnival of Souls. And I say interesting just because it's the newest one we've covered for the side dish, but it is still public domain. It's from the 60s, but still in the public domain.
It was in the public domain as soon as they published it
Oh, really?
because they forgot to file stuff properly.
I think George Romero did the same thing.
Yeah, so it came out in the public domain as soon as it hit the ground.
Interesting. And I
Yeah.
believe there's a remake of it that I was going to watch and compare the two. I didn't for this, but I will for the future at some point.
Yeah, it was done in the '90s. The first one that I saw when I was watching this back on my list was the colorized version.
And I was going to bring that up because the colorized version actually has 4 more minutes. It's like the director's cut, a few extra, nothing that changes the story, but some longer extended scenes where she's freaking out a bit.
Yeah. I didn't think that the extended cut would be a whole lot more because this guy, Herc Harvey, did this on a shoestring budget. Like, he paid $12 to repair the railing when they drove the car off the bridge. And then that large building where they were working in, Salt Lake City Chamber of Commerce charged him $50 to let him use the Saltair Pavilion that they were in. So
Well,
it didn't cost him a whole lot of money.
that
Um,
building has a bit of an interesting history because it's burned down more than once. It was a pretty big attraction. I watched. It was interesting. A couple years ago, I caught one of those things in history that you didn't know type videos on YouTube myself, and it was focused on that, and I'd never known a thing about it. So when I saw it in this movie, I'm like, "Hey, I know that building. In fact, I think it's the same shot that I saw in the other video."
that's funny. The thing that really stuck me and really made me think about this, he based this loosely on the Twilight Zone episode called The Hitcher.
Okay, because I said all this is like a very long Twilight Zone episode. That was my exact comment.
Yeah. And there was another movie that came out about the same time. Shoot, I can't remember what it was called. It came out in the same year. They both dealt with the main character spoilers. Main character is dead and doesn't know it story. But I was trying to think of an earlier example of that in a feature film, and I'm having a hard time thinking of anybody else who did it.
I don't know about earlier, and I don't even know about feature film. I know I've seen it a few times in like TV shows and maybe like a Twilight Zone anthology show, but I don't remember a movie. It was a major feature.
Yeah, that Twilight Zone episode came out 2 years before this.
That
So
makes
but George Romero cites this as, like, one of the inspirations for him doing Night of the Living Dead, which you can see. You can see the influence on how the ghouls look in this is how they look in
right.
his film as well.
And definitely, like you said, it's to us now 70 years later. It was like, yeah, okay, I know exactly what's going on. She's dead, she doesn't know it, and the whole story is her going through the world until she realizes it. But in 1962 it was probably an unknown thing, and people probably were like, oh my gosh, astounded by the whole storyline.
Yeah, this was legitimately I See Dead People 30 years before I See Dead People.
And it was the audience that could see them that and didn't realize it instead of the kid.
Yeah, yeah. It it ended up, like, running that Freak's weird little thing, and it wasn't really well received when it first came out either, but over time, people were like, "You know what? This is a pretty significant film," when you start to look at it and how it sits in history.
Yeah, you get that a lot. It's pretty common, a little ahead of its time, something new and different. Just about even Hitchcock had his people that wanted to get rid of him, and he was horrible, blah, blah, blah.
Candice Hilligoss's agent actually dropped her after she starred in this movie.
Wow.
Yeah, and she didn't go on to do a whole lot more.
Well,
And
once you're dead in a movie, you can't go up too much.
Hank Harvey, he wasn't really a dramatic film guy. He did educational films. That was his background.
Peter Jackson did a semi bad horror movie before Lord of the Rings.
He
Just to
did.
show you did it.
Bad taste.
The one thing I did, there are two main things I picked out of this. The pipe organ that she was playing near the beginning is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was pretty fantastic. And I did the evil carnival amusement park theme of it. That was nice. But the one thing that really stuck out was the very bad stereotype misogynistic guy that wanted to date her and all the things he said and the lines and the way he acted. I'm
Hey,
like, yeah, oh my God, this whole movie would just be completely canceled made today like
hey,
that. Yeah,
sweetie. Want to get
yeah,
a bite to eat?
yeah. He was horrible in the lens of today's world.
Oh,
Uh,
for sure.
I cringed. It was way over the top bad.
It only took him 3 weeks to film it, and the whole thing cost them 30 grand.
Wow.
And that 30 grand he raised pretty much all in a day.
He went to a
Um,
couple friends and asked them all for 600 bucks.
no, I think it was much more industrial, like, he got investors out of Kansas to back it, but it wasn't a lot of money at the time.
Nice. All right, so there's a Carnival of Souls.
Yeah, so what's coming up next, Steve?
Next is a great one. I'm excited about the next one. It is The Most Dangerous Game, which
Oh,
is a classic. It's been in everything. It's the whole basis for the Predator movies.
yeah. Then there's actually a whole host of movies that you think, "Oh, hey, they're dead and they didn't know it," was like a subgenre. The Most Dangerous Game is like the name of the subgenre there, so
Yeah, it absolutely is. And any show that has gone on for more than a couple years, even comedies that have played with this most dangerous game have had this in one form or another, especially if it's an action or a cop show or sci-fi fantasy. Heck, Star Trek and Battlestar, all of those had this storyline somewhere. So we'll get to watch the movie and see how it goes. And it was based on a book back
yep.
way back when. So we'll talk about more of that next time.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Cool, man. Later.
See ya.